Hey guys, welcome back to Budget with a July Dreamer. Welcome to another couch conversation that I would like to have. I am so prepared right now. I have my mobile here and I wrote down like a little script, but then I realized I'll still have to like look down and read it to you guys because this has just been on my heart and I really wanted to talk about it. So without further ado, let's get in today's video. And today's video is all about, is it wrong to be tax efficient? Let's talk. Hey guys, so welcome back. Like I said, my name is Miranda and on this channel I try and share personal finances, and as of late I have also been doing vlogs, whether they're travel or just like day in my life kind of situation. So I've been trying to incorporate such videos, and also I'm loving doing these couch conversations where I come to you guys with my raw thoughts and my water as I am trying to just navigate the world of finance, or just, you know, life in general. Now, like I said, I have written down a little script here on what I wanted to cover, because this, I don't even know where it came from, but I think I have an idea. It could be because I have a tax bill. I owe the government money, and maybe it could have come from that, but it was just an idea and I just thought, you know what, let's just write all of it down, and then I'm like, let's make a video. So here I am coming to you guys to talk about this. So I wrote down as a YouTube idea for a video, I was like, is it wrong to be tax efficient? And I'm going to read to you here what I wrote. It's a little bit long but not too long. So I said, for as long as I can remember, I've always been taught we should all pay our taxes, and then like on the news you would hear some celebrity or some politician has been caught doing tax evasion, right? And it's sometimes it's the most unlikely suspects, if I can say it that way, and sometimes you're just like, yeah, I could say it, but obviously we don't know people really, right? So and I was like, everyone knows about the Cayman Islands. Like literally, I was even, when I was looking at the Cayman Islands for a holiday, I don't even know why, when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, it's similar to Dubai, because like there's no, I believe there's no corporation tax, there is no income tax. I know for a fact that a lot of people that work in Dubai, like the ones I know of at least, get like 100% their paycheck. So if you get 60k a year, you get the whole 60k, whereas I know in the UK, you know, we've got different tax bands. But anyway, so I was thinking, oh, it's a little bit similar to that, but maybe not so similar corporate wise, I'm not really sure. But anyway, I was like, everyone knows about the Cayman Islands and when it comes to tax advantages, and here I put advantages as opposed to evasion because I want to talk about this a little bit more. And you know, tax advantages, people, and I was like, insert celebrities, politicians, billionaires, millionaires, whatever, used to pay less tax. But when regular folks start learning about their own tax system and what advantages are available to them, all of a sudden it's wrong and it's viewed as tax avoidant and not tax efficient. And I really want to pause here for a second. Why is it that when a common folk learns about, you know, ways that they can save money for themselves, their families, or what have you, all of a sudden it's no longer being tax efficient but rather tax avoidant? Like, why is that? Because like celebrities is kind of like, it's almost even the norm. I'm not going to mention any specific celebrities per se, but I remember, oh, back in 2012 there was this big band in the UK where I remember, I think it was the Daily Mail, which obviously I don't trust anything from the Rupert Murdoch world, but anyway, at that time it was either the Daily Mail or Mirror or one of them, they talked about how this lead of this band, I don't know if it was all of them or just the lead, but the name that was associated, it was the lead of that band, and he was fined for tax evasion. I think because they set up a company or something like that in the Cayman Islands and it benefited from certain tax, whatever. So, but the headline, I never went into reading in full detail that, but the headline and everything you were seeing on gossip sites was all, oh, he was evading tax, blah 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 blah. That's all I remember about that. But I was just like, you know, when a common folk learns about systems that are already in place that we can benefit from, we're still paying tax, but we're trying to benefit from, it's all of a sudden you're being tax avoidant. And where did I get to? Yeah, what I asked the question, why is it that, you know, common folk, it's tax avoidant and not being tax efficient? And this also, I remember, I've even written it in here, I remember I was 5 years into my career. I'd left uni 2013. I immediately went into the industry I currently work in, and I started working up the corporate ladder because, you know, I wanted to be the girl boss kind of thing. And I was 5 years into my career when I started making 60K. And I remember my first payslip because I was very excited, you know, and I don't know why I only did like 60K divided by 12 as opposed to think of all the taxes and everything I was going to pay. But I remember looking at my pay slip, and as much as it was at that time quite a lot of money for me, my heart did drop a little bit when I looked at how much had actually gone to tax, because honestly that was not what I was expecting. I didn't know much. I knew a little bit about how taxes work. I just didn't think I was moving into the next tax bracket, if that makes sense. And I was just super surprised. And I remember saying to, I won't even call them friends, I'll call them acquaintances, how painful I felt at that point about how much I was paying in tax. And I remember specifically saying that obviously I am grateful to be in a position where I could pay that amount of tax. I still was just, I was feeling some type of way that I was paying that much in taxes. I am not someone who has ever claimed benefits, but I cannot fully say that 100% in that the services that I get to use in my local community is actually what I'm benefiting from, right? Like NHS is one of the great examples that we have. So I'm not saying I don't want to pay tax. I was just saying the first time I saw that, it hit me raw. Like it was so painful. And I remember saying it to these acquaintances, how painful it felt to pay so much in tax. But, you know, I was obviously grateful that I was contributing to the economy. And I remember being, I don't even know why I needed to specify to these acquaintances that I wasn't saying I didn't want to pay tax. I was saying it was painful to see how much tax I paid. And honestly, good Lord knows, at that point in time, you would have thought I had kicked these people in the teeth. Like literally, you would have thought I'd kicked them in the teeth by saying that. And what then later transpired, I found that they were earning, I was earning double what they were making. I didn't know this at that time, right? I did not know this at all, but it became uncomfortable pretty quickly. Money for some certain circles is already a taboo, an uncomfortable topic for most people. But for me, it's something that over the years I've just become very comfortable talking about. So I don't know why I assumed we were, you know, all in the same place money-wise, but maybe that was my first mistake. And you know, the atmosphere like completely changed, and it was just something else, you know. It was at that time that I realized that, you know, I couldn't really speak to everyone about money, about finances. My best friends know, you know, the minute they signed up for this subscription called Lifetime Friendships, they knew that I could say whatever I wanted, and I talk about finances to them all the time. Like even when they don't want to listen, I still talk about it. And then there are times when they come to me and I'm just like, hey, I see it's rubbing off on you, that kind of thing. But I felt like that was the first turning point for me to being like, okay, there's certain people I shouldn't really talk about, talk money with. Like I don't think I should be talking to everybody about this. My best friends, excluded my family, they've got no choice, literally. But I was just like, probably not certain people. I just, obviously, it will take me time to ascertain who those certain people are. But that was like, it was very uncomfortable. It made me realize a lot of things, but I wanted to bring this topic to you guys, like I said earlier, because of the tax bill that I have. Obviously, as someone who has rental properties and also side businesses, you know, side hustles that I do, making additional money means obviously paying taxes on us. And I am more than happy to pay my taxes. I have no problem with paying my taxes. I just wanted to bring to you guys, my audience, I wanted to bring this question. What is your personal take on this matter? Like, would you consider someone who takes advantage of the available, and I emphasize the available tax opportunities the government have put in place for its people? Would you consider that as a person being tax avoidant or tax efficient? Honestly, I hope that a lot of you would see it as tax efficient, but I know with everything in life, right, there will be someone who will see it as tax avoidant. And again, we can discuss in the comments for sure. I know that with everything in life, there will always be people who push the limit. There will always be people who find a way to be sneaky and what have you. And I remember a couple of years ago, I think pre-2020, we found out that somebody we knew was essentially, how do I say this without sounding mean, but they were being smart with their earnings. So they were a small business, and it turned out that they were not like fully reporting everything that they were making. So like they were being smart. So what they will record and then end up submitting to the accountant or doing their self-assessment turned out to be less than what they were actually bringing in. And because it was less, they ended up like getting, you know, either not having to pay tax or paying extremely lower tax than they would have if they declared everything. And I wrote in my notes, I'm like, I'm sure we all know someone like that. Maybe we don't, maybe you guys don't, but I for sure knew of this person. This person is not in my life and I wasn't close with them like that, but when I learned that, I was actually quite pissed off. Obviously, this was for me off the back that a couple years prior, when I brought up this conversation with these acquaintances, you know, I was made to feel like, what, you know, complaining that I'm paying so much tax, I was essentially like saying I didn't want to pay tax, which is like the complete opposite of what I was trying to say, like what I was trying to bring to the table. But then knowing about this person, and I was miffed, because for me, if there's one thing my parents have always taught me, is to definitely pay my taxes, because, you know, like the US say, you know, you never mess with the IRS. In the UK, HMRC for most people doesn't even give you a chance to mess with them, because for us, we are taxed at source. So we only get like after tax dollars, unless you are a small business where we have to do self-assessment. But even then, HMRC is way too sneaky for my liking. I'm not risking it. I refuse. I'm declaring everything that I'm making. I don't want to fudge nothing because I'm scared of going to jail. I don't think I would survive. I think I'll be somebody's bitch. Honestly, like, I'm like, no ma'am. And I think it's just bad manners in my personal opinion, right? But I also, in the same breath, when I remember when I started working with an accountant, and they were like, wait, you earn this much and you're paying this much tax? I'm like, yeah, is there anything wrong with that? It's like, no, because there's ABCD available to you. And I'm like, tell me more, sir. Like, what exactly is available to me? What does the law in this good United Kingdom allow me to do? I'm not saying I want to avoid paying tax. I'm saying I want to pay less, because I know a lot of big corporations. I've heard of all of these big corporations who are paying less tax, you know. And I think our last prime minister, there was that issue with his wife. I think she was a domicile or something like that, so wasn't paying as much tax as should have been or something like that. And I was just like, focus on them. Like, Focus on you know, these other folks, not like your common regular schmegular. Because I remember reading what book was it? It was a finance book. It was US based, and I think I've spoken about this, where a lot of my finance books that I've read in the past and even present seem to be US centric. And I remember reading this book, I just can't remember which one. They were like, if you were to read the tax book that the IRS has prepared, it almost feels like the first 4 or 5 rules for how to pay tax, and then the rest of what's in there is for you how to pay less tax. And I was just like, that's pretty interesting. But then I was just started investigating on the UK side. There are benefits that you can take advantage of. For me personally, I take advantage of paying, you know, like pre-tax things. For example, my employer match, I feel like that's an advantage I take. That is a tax efficient advantage I take care of, or that's a tax advantage that the government has put in place that I make use of. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Because the UK government has been like, okay, if you contribute of your annual salary, if you contribute, I think then it was 40k a year, I think now it's about 60k a year, you know, this will help you pay less tax. And I'm like, okay, because I'm putting in my future pot, I'm sure they're using that money to spend now or something like that, or pay people who are retiring now. I'm not really sure, but if you do that, that helps reduce your taxes. There are certain things that I take advantage of, like my employer offers certain benefits that then helps you pay lower tax. You're still paying tax, you're still being taxed, right? But it's just lower than if you weren't taking advantage of what's there. So I come to you guys and I'm asking this question to you. Would you consider somebody who is taking advantage of the tax system that the government has put in place? And when I say advantage, I'm like, the government has said if you do ABCD, you can pay less tax. So somebody who is making use of that, would you call them tax avoidant or tax efficient? Because personally, from where I'm sitting, that's just being smart with my money, that's just being efficient, still paying tax, just not as much. Like I know a lot of people who have bought their properties under a, you know, limited company. That's tax efficient as I understand it. As somebody who's a higher taxpayer already and having properties in my name, this is why we're here right now with me owing the government some money, okay? That's why we're here. I haven't fully made use of everything that is available to me tax-wise, right? And I'm not mad about that. When I was buying these properties in my name, I knew that, well, not at the beginning, but as I bought my second or third one, I was starting to learn that probably best tax-wise, if I was, and also like in the future when I want to give these properties to my future kids, my niece, my nephew, and what have you, probably makes sense if they were under a company, would just change directors, you know, as opposed to me having to either sell it or give it to them in as inheritance and stuff like that, you know, all of the taxes and what have you. So I was just like, yeah. But even though I know that, I still made my decision to continue with just buying them in my name. I don't know, maybe I know this is not what a lot of people comment on my videos, or those who are very much anti somebody having property in their name, but I am probably, my 4th rental property will also be in my name. Yeah. And then after that, when I start buying more properties or trying to scale up, those will go into business, but the next one, definitely my name. Yeah. And I'm sure people will have opinions about that, and that's great. Personally, I prefer if it's, oh yeah, no, you shouldn't do, no sir, I will do what I want to do, okay? It makes sense for me, and that's what I'm gonna do. But for this, I literally just wanted to come on here and speak to my people. Speak to my people. Are any of you making use of the tax advantages that your government offers? or if you were in a position where you could make use of the tax advantages available in your country, would you take them on? Like, if you were aware of them. I know for a fact that I'm not aware of everything that people in government are aware of and rich people already know that we don't know. I know that for a fact, but as I'm starting to educate myself and learn more about these things, I'm like, outside of the properties, which again, leave those alone, I will take advantage of them. I'm not against paying tax. I just don't want to be paying way more than I should. That is what I'm trying to say, in no uncertain terms. I feel great actually having spoken about this. It feels like I've taken a lot off my chest. So yeah, I have said what I wanted to say in this video. Let's discuss in the comments. So thank you so much, you guys, for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video real soon.